Hey, what is up, guys? We are here with the Erron Black character breakdown. If you haven't seen our character breakdowns before, we basically cover the notable normals, strings, special moves, differences between all the variations, and just talk about basic game plans with the character. So Erron Black, generally low mobility as far as walk speed goes, and his jump, it doesn't quite travel as far as a lot of characters. His run also has like this startup to it that other runs don't have, right? Where he's not quite at full speed yet, and then he speeds up kind of in the middle of it. So he doesn't have huge mobility, but this character's strengths are his mix-up potential, his corner carry, and his corner game, right? So he has all these high-low mix-ups to scare you, plus a command throw, and he carries you to the corner super, super quick, and once he gets you there, it's super, super scary. So let's talk about some of his normals. When I talked about those, high-low, one of the important ones is obviously forward 1. It's a lunging overhead like that. Forward 1-2 is an advancing string, and forward 1-3 is overhead low. So there's that, and it pushes you to the corner fairly quickly. He also has, as far as overheads go, forward 4 is like a lunging drop kick like that, and his low starter is back 3, looks like that. Has a little launcher attached to the string, and you can get a neutral jump punch in the corner and with the Outlaw variation really easily. But in this variation, it's kind of hard to get neutral jump punch mid screen. At least I've not found it to be that consistent. So those normals are all important. He also has a couple of normals with projectiles attached to them, which is pretty interesting, right? So he has this one. That one, yeah. I thought it was 4-2, but it's actually 3-2. So it looks like that. So it has a projectile attached to it, and then he has this normal as well. So yeah, they have a full screen projectile attached to it. Pretty interesting. Not a lot of characters have that element to it, and it's something that's pretty unique to Erron Black. And yeah, those strings that move him forward, like you saw that string, that moves him forward. He has this string that moves you all the way forward as well, and he has a couple of special moves that help carry you to the corner. Speaking of special moves, let's go over his universal moves. So he has a couple of important ones. His main projectile is the sand grenade, which is back forward 3. It's like that. It is a low, looks just like that, and it is also a launcher if you do the EX version of it, and it has 3 different versions, right? So like if you do something like this, overhead low, neutral jump punch, and then you can do a combo from it, and get a lot of corner carry and damage from that. Now the other thing is that's important is his Caltrops. This is really good in the corner, right? It's down back 3, so there's a close version of it, the mid version of it, far version of it. Now when your opponent's standing on it, they take 0.5% damage per tick. If it's the EX version of it, then they take 1% damage per tick. So that is the Caltrops. Now you can see why his corner game is so scary, because you just push them to the corner, throw down Caltrops on their wake up, and they're just stuck eating all that tick damage over time, and it's really, really good, especially if you manage to land his command throw on top of it. This is another special move that he has, and it is a legit command throw. It cannot be like ducked or anything like that. And one of the tricky things about it is, like I mentioned, if you want to look at when I have him in the corner, I throw down Caltrops, command throw, the life it does is crazy. This move can also be meter burn late. It's one of the few moves in the game where you can meter burn it later on, so at the end of it right there, you don't have to do it right away. And there's also an EX version of it that just has armor, and you can spend an additional bar to do that. So yeah, that is his command throw. Besides that, he also has a slide, which is back forward 4. Remember that running overhead we had earlier? So he has, if he really wants to get crazy, he can run and do that, or he can run and do slide, but those are pretty unsafe. There's also an EX version of the slide, looks like that. Couple extra shots, and it leaves you closer than the other slide to try to do wake up pressure after, right? Like you're almost right in range for that, so pretty good stuff. The other thing that's universal is his down back 4, looks like that. It's a little explosion. EX version of it has a pretty big pop-up on it, and yeah, so we are in Gunslinger for Erron Black, so we're going to talk about the stuff that's specific to this. He has 2 special moves in Gunslinger. Now one of the things I mentioned is that his projectiles are a little weird. Each variation has different spins on it. So in this one, he has a money shot, and it can be done close, medium, or far, and the EX version of it shoots a bunch. The other one he has is called standoff, and this is like classic Western, right? So if you hit down back 1 and then do 1 again, he cancels it. Medium is the anti-air, or 2. 3 is the low. It's kind of like the make 'em dance kind of thing. It's kind of the same kind of thing from a Western. Final shot right there. And then there is 4, which is like a retreating shot. So that is Gunslinger Erron Black, right? Those are the only 2 special moves he gains, but this one's a fairly fast projectile that he doesn't have access to, and you can hit all kinds of parts on the screen on it, which is pretty neat. let's move into Outlaw. Now this one's a little different. One of the things that you'll notice right away is that neutral jump punch I talked about is different because he has the sword in this. So you remember before we were having trouble and I mentioned doing a neutral jump punch off of that's pretty hard in the other variations. Obviously not the case in this variation. It's really easy because of the extra range. So that's something that is a plus. The other things that Outlaw has is down back 4, which is this. So instead of having that little thing that he explodes, he has a little sand toss, and he has EX sand toss as well. And this is a stagger. So when this hits, so let's say you do something like the overhead low string into it, you can walk up and combo off of it, something like that, and then go into a B&B, right? So that's really great. That is something that is excellent for the character. And if you guys are wondering how most people end their B&Bs, it's usually some kind of juggle into command throw. So like after this, you would just do like a normal and then command throw like that, because that gives you corner carry. So that's really good. So yeah, that is his down back 4. It's a little sand toss. Pretty easy to confirm off of. And it has a little stagger on it. The other move that he has in here is down forward 2. Looks like this. It's a little stabby move. Now this is another thing that's really strong in the corner. Again, you're kind of probably seeing a pattern here, because it does damage over time, right? So he's going to stab Liu Kang through the chest and break the sword off to do some damage over time. Now, while that's gone, I lose that jump 2 I talked about earlier, or that neutral jump punch, until it's back. And you're going to get that damage over time. The EX version just does more damage over time. That's how it works. But you can imagine when you have these set up and you stab him through the chest, how all that damage over time just kind of adds up real quick. And there's like a knockdown at the end that lets you set it up again. So yeah, damage over time in the corner, very, very scary. And Outlaw Erron Black definitely makes it even more frightening. But yeah, look at this neutral jump punch. Like, that is so insane. And if I get rid of the sword, I'll show you guys actually. I'll get rid of the sword and I'll show you guys that launcher into neutral jump punch and how hard it is without the sword. Because you guys saw I was doing it in sword. It's pretty easy. Yeah, so like you can try to take a step into it, but it's pretty hard. So this version makes that combo a lot easier. Final one we have is Marksman. This one has more rangey options than the other ones, as you would probably guess, right? And it also has a launcher that is pretty neat as well. So the launcher is down back 2, looks like this. And there's an EX version of it that he can do kind of late. It has a little shot at the end. It does a lot of damage, and you can follow up with a combo, which is pretty great as well. The main projectile on this one is down forward 1. You can also hold it and dash cancel it. So stuff like this is possible. But, you know, that's getting a little advanced. But, you know, that's just an option. It's just something to think about. The other thing he has in here is down back 1, which is a pretty cool looking move, right? You can EX it as well. And it has a pop-up on it. So, like, if you want to combo into it, this is one of his combo starters in this stance. Another thing about this one I didn't mention is you can EX that as well. So yeah, it just does a little bit of extra damage. But it's fairly fast, and he ducks, so he goes under a lot of projectiles as well. Something pretty interesting. So you can do this, go under a projectile and dash forward like that. So that's pretty neat. And that is the Marksman variation. There's not a lot of huge differences here besides the fact that he gains a launcher that he can armor. Whoops. To go through stuff. Oh wait, can you not armor that? I thought you could, huh? Really? I guess not, huh? Well, that's a bummer for him. I thought that was an armored launcher, but yeah, this character, he has some difficulties on wake up. He can do the EX slide, but it's really unsafe. So that is one of the things I was kind of testing against him, but like I said, his mix-up potential really, really, really strong. His corner carry is really strong, and his corner game is really good. He doesn't have the highest mobility or best defensive options, but, you know, he's a very explosive offensive character. If you guys like that style of mix-ups and setups and scary offense and guessing, then this is definitely a character that I recommend checking out. And he's really interesting, really fun, and he's like a cowboy. Like, how do you not like that, right? And, you know, if you don't like the old Wild West stuff, I guess. But I don't know, I just think he's a neat character, really fun, cool design, and he's a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this Erron Black character breakdown. I'll see you guys again soon.